and I felt like the most imperfect parent ever. And what do I have to say? Because I messed so many things up. And yet I remember long ago that I thought, oh my gosh, I have the degrees, I have the experience. I taught parenting classes, I wrote parenting programs before I had children. That was my emphasis. One day I remember specifically where I was in California where we lived. And I remember thinking, this is so hard. I can't keep track of everything for my kids. I cannot do everything. There's just too much to focus on. And as I thought about that, I felt like I needed to come up with a system that would help me to help my kids. And
Are you a woman who knows God is calling you to something more, but you're unsure where to start or how to grow it into something impactful? You are not alone, and you're in the right place. Welcome to the Arise Women of God podcast, a show for Christian women who feel called to shine His light and step into their divine purpose. Each week, you'll hear stories of faithful women, both from the Bible and today, who heard God's voice and chose to say yes, even when it felt uncomfortable or uncertain to step with faith into the unknown. You'll walk away with encouragement, spiritual insight, and practical steps to follow those holy promptings in your own life. So let's arise together as women warriors of light. Let's do it God's way, God's strong. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Arise Women of God podcast. I'm your host, Tamara K. Anderson, and I am so excited to have another Woman Warrior of Light spotlight today. And I'm welcoming Angela Meyers. Angela, thank you for being here.
I am thrilled to be here. I'm so excited to be with you, my friend. This is going to be
Oh, and
great.
you know what's great is I have actually known Angela for a couple of years, and we happened to see each other at a conference just this past weekend, and it was just fun to spend some time with her again. And so I think it's awesome that now we get to have this wonderful chat with you about what God has been calling Angela to do and some of the obstacles she's encountered, but how God has opened up the way for her. And so let me do a formal introduction so you know a little bit about her and her gifts and talents, and then we'll dive into what she can teach us about this journey that she's been on. So, Angela Meyers is a national speaker, author, family life educator, and trainer with a BS in psychology and an MS in family life education. She recently completed 3 years of service as National Education Chairman for the American Mothers, Inc., where she oversaw a nationwide virtual program supporting mothers through classes, speakers, and forums. She is the founder of Kudos for Families, a nonprofit that equips parents to move from default to intentional parenting by modeling God's example as a perfect parent. Angela is the mother of 4 adopted children with special needs and the grandmother of 4. So, oh my goodness, Angela, you have quite the bio here. And it's almost like, where do we even start there? But I do have a question. Tell me one of the things that you were most proud of with your service with American Mothers, because I know you were in it from a national perspective, and maybe some of the struggles that you see parents facing today that you were able to help and address.
Okay, yes, I really enjoyed my time with American Mothers. And I was able to go in, and part of their mission is to have education for moms, but they really hadn't focused on that for many, many years. And so I was brought in and given a position where I could have that an impact on that type of thing. So I'm really happy that we were able to set up quite a few programs. They already had a podcast that was running. Our friend Deanne Taylor is running that. So the podcast was going and was going great. But then we brought in Facebook Lives where I would interview someone every other week, a mother or another professional, but typically moms across America who are experts in their field who could come in and talk to us about things like postpartum depression, or how to get your kids to be respectful, those type of topics. So we were able to take that national platform and use it to give moms tools that they could use in their lives. And I loved the idea that we could take other moms to teach. So we became moms who were supporting one another. And so I'm really happy about that. And we did other things, working on a video series for them and that type of thing. But the idea was supporting moms with information that is good. Sometimes you get a lot of information on the internet that may not be as trustworthy. And so I was so grateful to be part of that
Mm.
thing.
Oh, well, what a tremendous service. Thank you for getting that going. That's fantastic. Now, we're going to pivot just slightly, but it's on the same topic. And that is, what have you felt God tugging you to do with this season of your life?
Yes. It's interesting because I didn't realize that the season was upon me because I remember thinking, I am so busy. My mom and dad were living with us and they're elderly, and I have a daughter with special needs, and I have another son with special needs. And so I was just like, oh, how am I going to even do anything else? I'm bursting at the seams with so much busyness and so much life, and not things that I could choose to put aside, to set aside. I couldn't set aside family members who were having issues and struggles and difficulties. And so I just had put my family as my priority for years. I left my career, set it to the side. I did have a career because when we first got married, I was unable to get pregnant. And so we ended up adopting our children, but I had 5 years where I had my career. And so I had set that aside to raise my family. And I thought, okay, when everything's good and everything's settled and everything calms down, then I will turn back to my career and try to be helpful to people. But Heavenly Father had another idea, and that was, oh, you need to start something now. And I was just like, mm-mm. What? Are you kidding me? Right now? How in the world am I supposed to fit anything in? And so I felt the call to, I felt an urgency within me to get back into parenting and to start making an impact and a difference. And through the years, technology had changed. Things were so different. In the past, I was just teaching in the community. And so I felt like he was calling me to use the things I got my degree in and to help parents. Um, my parenting was not perfect. I struggled, and I had the tools from my degrees and my career. I was supposed to know what I was doing. And I thought, this is so hard. How can I help myself? How can I help other people? And so I guess from that learning experience, he wanted me to get something out there for parents.
Mm, wow. So it was just this feeling like, Angela, I need you to step up and do this.
Yes.
So once you got that feeling, what did that path look like? Because often I think when we get an inspiration or a thought from God, we're like, oh, he is just going to open up the way. It's going to be like this sunshiny path. And it doesn't typically play out like that.
It does not. I was shocked because the thing that I thought he was calling me to do is not what I've ended up doing. It's still in parenting, but I remember back then I had worked with my dad in parenting. He and I both kind of worked together. I got my degree, sent him all the information I got. He got a different degree in counseling, and I thought I was being called to get his stuff, his parenting back out there. And I guess that was the way Heavenly Father got me into it, because I'm thinking, okay, get dad's stuff out there. And that urgency within me was so strong. Do it now while he's still alive. But it turns out that he kept pivoting me and changing where I was going. And had I had any idea how difficult it was going to be, I would have turned and run. Because if I had known that I was going to have to create my own stuff, that I was going to have to get my face out there online, that I was going to have to do social media and marketing, which I can't stand, I would have turned and run. So I think he kind of eased me into it. Just get dad's stuff out there. And then things just kept happening, and he's changed me and pivoted me in so many different ways.
Wow. So give me an example, perhaps, of an obstacle you encountered and how God helped you to navigate that. Because often when he calls us to do something, it is out of our comfort zone,
Yes, totally.
right?
Yes, totally. I guess I didn't really know what I was doing. when I was in school, it was the first time I got on a computer and tried to do my master's thesis, and I lost it because I didn't know how to back it up. It was so new. I went to college using a typewriter, so it was very new. So all of this new technology was different for me, and I'd kept up through the years. But I think knowing how to market, doing the technology, that was something I really had to learn, and I didn't know what I was doing. And yet, as I prayed for help because I was struggling, I learned so much on my own about websites and things like that. But he put people in my life at the right time that taught me the things that I needed, things I never wanted to learn, never knew I needed to learn. He somehow I got connected through my dad, just going out there where I didn't think he should go, saying, "There's this guy that does all this marketing. Let's go talk to him." And I said, "Dad, no, let's calm down. Let's not do that." He set up a meeting, and the guy talked about branding and marketing, and he was a wonderful man. And he said, I charge people like $50,000 to do this. And I said, "We don't have that. We are a nonprofit. We are just starting out." And he said, "Well, this is what I would tell someone to do in your position." He said, "Take this information, see what you can do, and then let's meet in a week." And so I took everything that he gave me. I was dying. I was stressed out. I was working. I was worried. And I was able to take everything that he'd given to me and turn it into something worthwhile, I guess, because when we met with him, he said, "I want to meet with you. I want to help you." And so he taught me all of these incredible things that changed things for me and connected me with different people. And then I have a beautiful friend, Connie, that's a mutual friend of ours, that I went to a meeting that she taught at church, and I thought, what she's saying is for me. I need this. And by connecting with her, I learned all kinds of things like how to market, do the back end of not the back end of the website, but the email funneling and those types of things, and how to do a podcast and how to write a book. And he's just put people in my path that have helped me. He's filled in the gaps. He's helped me to get the connections and the resources that I needed that I didn't have. I didn't have the money to go hire people. I didn't have the time to go take another college course and get a degree or whatever. But he put those people in my path. And I'm not going to say it was easy. So hard to learn those things, so hard to report in, so hard to get out of my comfort zone. And just, how it is when you're on the computer and you have to do something and with a website or whatever, and you have no idea what you're doing, and you're pulling your hair out for a couple of hours. There's been a lot of that, a
Mhm.
lot of that. But he's put people in my path. And I think that's how he's helped me to overcome a lot of the obstacles. So,
Wow. I love the miracle that you shared of, we don't have that kind of money, and yet he ended up becoming a powerful mentor to
mhm,
you
yes.
and helping kind of navigate you through that. I mean, what a miracle. And I've seen the same thing be true for me that when I needed the right person, and sometimes those prayers with God, I don't know about you, but for me, I'm like, okay, God, you want me to do this? You need to open the right door, right?
Mhm,
You need to send the right person. You need to send something to help me figure this out or navigate that. I noticed end up praying. There's times I pray for technology angels
yes.
to be sent to help me because I am like, I know there's a way to do this, and I, for the life of me, can't figure it out. So I need technology in. So it's like this very blunt and honest conversation
Mhm,
happening with God because I'm trying to do what He wants me to do,
mhm,
but it's stretching me.
mhm.
And I want to ask you this as kind of a follow up. Um, how do you feel your confidence in God has moved or changed by going through this process?
That's a great question. I don't want to cry. I just feel like I see my inadequacies, and I know he sees my inadequacies. And yet, he has faith in me. He has a mission for me, like he does for each one of us. It's not just me, it's not just you. He has a mission for every daughter of God, every one of his daughters, every one of his children, his sons. And when he asks us to do something, we can go to him and say, "You've asked me to do this. I need your help. I need thy help." And yet, sometimes I find that the answers don't necessarily come the way that I thought they would. I don't necessarily figure out that technology issue right away. It takes, and I think he wants me to struggle. He wants me to go through the hard time because then I grow and I become stronger. And when I struggle with that little problem, I really learn it, you know? So I feel as if he really is there for us. He really does know what our struggles are. He wants us to do the things he wants us to do. He won't always give us the answers the way we think we need them. And I think hindsight is huge. You're asking me these questions, which are causing me to reflect over the past few years and ask myself, where was I? How did this happen? And I have reflected in the past, not just today, but I've reflected about how did I end up where I'm at? And I can see his hand moving in my life. Someone compared it to chess pieces.
Mm.
Is that you recently? Who was that? Anyway, the chess pieces that he's making the moves and he's making the changes, and we don't really see the big picture, but he sees the big picture. He knows how he can use us. He knows what impact and influence we can have. I'm not sure if I answered your question. I kind of just went on and on, but yeah.
You did perfect and great. And I've seen that same thing, that same pattern in my life, that he has opened the right doors, but I've seen myself grow. I mean, exponentially. I don't know how else to say it
Mhm.
other than it was like I would learn something. He's like, and now do this. And it's another
Yes.
stretching and growth period. And I'm like, oh, growing pains, growing pains. And, but you know what I've noticed about myself is that through the process, I have learned to hear him better. And I feel like I can trust him even when I'm like, I don't know what this next little bit of the path is going to look
Mhm.
like, but I feel you pulling me in this direction and I'm going to go.
Mhm.
But I think it's also helped me grow in confidence, like in myself and in my
Yes.
capacity. Like he can see
Mhm.
who Tamara can become, and
The
I'm
potential.
thinking small. And
Mhm.
he's thinking huge and big. And so as I do these hard things, I'm like, wow, look at what I did with God's help.
Yes.
I don't
Yes.
know. Have you seen something?
Absolutely. I so appreciate that because I've seen myself change as he's given me these struggles, as he's given me these opportunities, which are scary a lot of times when someone asks you to step out on a stage and speak without notes for 50 minutes or whatever. And I feel like he strengthens us and he gives us that confidence. He has us go through little steps and processes and we learn how to do things, but then we're actually implementing them. We have to trust him, trust that he will make up the difference in our weaknesses and our inadequacies. And I just look at the things that all these little things, all these different areas, and I think I'm confident now. Sometimes I feel like an imposter. We think we're, the imposter syndrome, but in general, it's a matter of he's given me this to do in this moment. I need to go to this meeting and I need to present these ideas, or I need to step on the stage and I need to teach all of this. And so he gives the opportunity and the fear is there. And yet he makes up the difference if we just are brave enough to get out there and do it. And then afterwards, it's like, ah, I did that. He helped me through his grace, through his goodness. He's helped me. He's given me his spirit as I've taught, and I've felt that. So he gives us that confidence. And I love knowing that he's helped me grow and improve. So I am a better representative for him, but also that he makes up that difference. And that is really, really huge. And
Mm,
trusting him that I can get through it, and trusting him that even if I fall flat on my face, it's okay. I was there on his mission and it's all right. It doesn't matter.
mm.
So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I know I was talking with my accountability group earlier this week, and we were talking about how even if we feel we're failing, as long as we are learning and moving forward, that we need to count it as a success.
yes.
Because learning means that we're going to do some things right and we're going to do some things wrong. And
Mhm.
it's a process of, okay, here we go. And stumbling and falling and getting back up. It's the getting back up part
Yes.
that's most important because we're all going to fall,
Yeah.
right?
Just keep going. You go to launch something and it doesn't work. Nobody shows up to your class online or whatever it is. You're doing a Facebook Live to nobody, and it's okay. And and it's practice. And I think when he knows we are willing to risk our pride, when he knows we're willing to risk the scary feelings, that's when his magic happens. That's when his spirit comes in and swoops in, and that's when we're blessed more. Because a lot of times I feel like I don't know what he wants from me next. I really don't know. And then I realize, oh, something happened. He's guiding me. This fell into my lap. He must want me to do this, you know? And so, yeah, just he's there for us every step of the way. He's aware of us.
Mm,
He knows the struggles. He knows how busy we are. He knows what we can fit in and what we can't. And I think he magnifies our time.
mm. I'm going to do a quick follow-up question because I think this is something we really struggle with as women. You said he knows what we have time for.
Mhm.
And talk me through the process of when you feel overwhelmed and feel like something needs to be removed, or like I'm not juggling what I have very well right now. I'm kind of in overwhelm.
Mhm.
Does God help you discern what's okay to let go of?
Mhm. That's such a good question. Because I do feel as if most of us as women start taking things on and taking things on until we get to the point where we're completely overwhelmed. And sometimes I feel like that's exactly when he gives me something else to do. And then I'm like, are you kidding me? No way. Are you kidding me? So, yeah, I feel like he walks us through things, he gives us things, and we do have to look and say, what is most important? Because I do have all of this. I have to take a step back. And it's usually when I'm stressed out and I'm crying and I'm having a meltdown and I think, okay, obviously this is too much. What can I cut back? And I think in prayer to him, asking him, what can I cut back? I can't cut out my children. I can't cut out my husband. And I have a lot of special needs in my family, so that's always something I can't cut that out, and I won't cut that out. But he tells me other things or other ways, or sometimes it's the things I really don't want to let go that he's telling me to let go. I mean, just recently with American Mothers, it was a lot of time and effort, took a lot away from my parenting and my nonprofit. And it was really hard for me to let that go. But I felt like he was saying, it's time. It's okay. I dropped this into your lap. I gave you this opportunity. You went in there, you did what I asked, you laid the foundation for a new program. It's okay to let someone else take it over. And I also had to say, it's okay to let go. And if it doesn't continue the way I set it up, it's okay. I did what he asked me to do. And it wasn't always just because I served them, it was what I became because of that process. And so that helps me a lot. And another thing, too, is that I know I need to stop saying I'm so busy because we don't want to say that. I have time for everything that I need to have time for. But I remember quite a few years ago when I had so many special needs with my kids and so many appointments going on, and he gave me a job at Heavenly Father through the church leaders, gave me a responsibility at church, and it was a very big responsibility. And I remember thinking, I can't do this. I can't do all of this, and yet you're asking this of me. And I always feel like what Heavenly Father gives me to do, that's where my priority is, my family and what he gives me to do. And so, PTA, that can be, I can stop that or whatever. But I remember praying to him and saying, you've asked me to do this. How am I going to possibly even do this? And I said specific prayers. I need you to magnify my time, meaning, um, I need you to make it so that I can do all of this. And I remember specifically going to a grocery store or another, I don't think it was a grocery store, I think it was like Target or Walmart or something. And I remember thinking, okay, this is why I'm here. These are the things I need to get. And I was going through the store, I felt inspiration to like add things to my cart that were going to help for certain things in the future. So even though I was focused on one area of my life, he was putting little thoughts into my head. Okay, while you're here, add this, this, and this, or do this. And so he would make it so that my normal stuff that I was doing, he was magnifying that. I remember going to meetings and thinking, I'm here for my responsibility at church. But as I sat there in those meetings, talking about Heavenly Father and God and how we could help other people of Christ, I remember thinking, oh my gosh, I need this for my family. We're talking about how I can serve the people in our congregation, that what the speaker is saying, that so applies to me and how to help my child. So he comes in. So if we step back, get rid of what we can, and then we say to him, this is what's on my plate still. Please help me. He will help us. He's got that grace and that mercy where he will help us to make it happen if he's requiring it of us.
Mm, wow, that is so wise. Thank you so much for sharing that. Because we women do say yes to so many things. And I think that's been one of the things I've also learned, that it's okay to ponder things and say no.
Yes.
And I have another friend that says, I am happy with what is on my plate right now. That's the way she graciously says no.
Like,
And I just thought, wow, that is such a nice way of saying that.
well, you mean like when other people say, "Will you do something?" She say, "I'm happy with what's on my plate right now."
Yes. I thought that is beautiful.
That
That's
is
a really
beautiful.
kind way of saying no way, no how, people.
We know how. Instead of like going through the buffet line and just piling stuff on. I I'm happy with what's on my plate. I'm gonna remember that.
I know, right? I'm like, it's good. But it's also, and I also love that you spoke to what God calls us to do shifts and change. Often there's a beginning and there's an end. So
Yes.
just like your service with American Mothers, there was a beginning and you were meant to be there for a certain amount of time, and then it became too much.
Mhm.
And God's like, and it's okay for you to step away. It's good to have that conversation so that you can leave without the guilt of, oh, I'm leaving because I failed. No, I'm leaving because I accomplished what God wanted me to do
Yes.
in this instance. Do you know what I mean?
We do. Yes, knowing that we've fulfilled whatever small part he asked us to do in that moment, and that he's gonna ask us to do something else now, or he's gonna say, "It's okay. Take some time. Breathe." I want the breathe. I want the breathing time. I just always feel like it's something else, but no. Yes, but it is that, and I feel really relieved. As hard as it was for me to leave, I feel such relief. I feel like I have been unburdened, and that he's giving me some beautiful time now to refocus on what I know he wants me to do. So,
Mm.
in whatever way, I don't know specifics, but I know the general direction he's heading me right now, and I know I have some ideas, some things I feel guilty about that I need to do, like marketing. I just need to say yes, okay.
So why don't you tell me a little bit about Kudos for Families, since you're saying he's pointing you back to your nonprofit and doing this. Tell me a little bit about what it is, what you do, um, and how this not only changed your family, but has such potential to help so many other people.
Sure, I'd be happy to. Um, so I did feel like I needed to go back into parenting, and that's my area. And I felt like the most imperfect parent ever. And what do I have to say? Because I messed so many things up. And yet I remember long ago when I mentioned this just a minute ago that I thought, oh my gosh, I have the degrees, I have the experience. I taught parenting classes, I wrote parenting programs before I had children. That was my emphasis. And I thought one day, I remember specifically where I was in California where we lived. And I remember thinking, this is so hard. I can't keep track of everything for my kids. I cannot do everything. There's just too much to focus on. And that was before I even had my youngest daughter, who there are so many more things with her. And as I thought about that, I felt like I needed to come up with a system that would help me to help my kids. And so I came up with my Kudos for Families system. And then we used that in my family. My dad sold it to parents, but I just mostly just focused on my family. And then when I felt this urgency a few years ago that Heavenly Father wanted me to get back into parenting, I started my nonprofit, which is called Kudos for Families, because the program's Kudos for Kids. In other words, giving good to the kids for the things that they do. It's helping parents to have a system so they don't have to think of everything. So this was Kudos for Families. And my goal was to get out there and help as many families as I could to learn the skills and principles, which I believe are true principles. And I actually am going to rebrand and start my podcast, which is Divine Parenting, because I feel that one of the best things that we can do as parents, Christian parents, is to look at God and how he parents. What does he do when he has children that go astray? And I think, okay, things like he has consequences, he gives us guidelines, he shows unconditional love. So if we focus in on Heavenly Father, parent the way he parents, we will be more successful as parents in doing our job as parents. I'm not saying our kids will turn out perfect. His haven't, but that we will be able to be able to look at ourselves and say, I am being directed by Heavenly Father. I am trying to pattern my parenting after him. And there are principles in psychology, in the parenting field, in family life education, policies, excuse not policies, but principles that if we apply them will really make a difference in our families. So my goal with my nonprofit is to help parents learn these principles. You know, you'll hear all the time when you have a child, you don't get the parenting manual. What are we supposed to do? And I have issues with that because I had to take a bunch of parenting classes in order to adopt. And I was like, okay, I pretty much know all this stuff, but yes, I'll go through the classes. Would you like me to teach them? You know, not being arrogant, but thinking I really didn't learn a lot from the classes, but I went through the steps. And I remember thinking, you can go out and you can't even cut hair unless you get a license. You can't work at Burger King unless you have a food permit or whatever. And so I feel like parents are searching. It's really hard to parent. You're in the middle of a situation and things are happening and you don't know what to do. So my goal is to help parents learn Heavenly Father's principles for parenting and be able to use those. Also, because we have so much from our past, we learn from our parents, good or bad, all day, every day, how to parent either poorly or well. So, my goal is to help parents look at the parenting that they have learned from, decide what they want to keep and what they want to get rid of, and give them the tools that they need to get past the overwhelm of parenting and actually enjoy parenting and feel like they are doing everything they need for their kids. So, that's my goal with Kudos for Families.
Oh, that is so beautiful. I love what you've shared there. And it is. Parenting is tough and it changes with every stage. I now have all adult children, and in parenting adult children is so different
It's
from
still
parenting the
parenting,
littles.
forever parenting, right? It never ends. Never ends.
No, but thank goodness we can pray. And often those little prayers, at least one of my parenting hacks that I've learned, and I'm sure you could do 10,000 of these, is saying a prayer in those moments of, I have no idea what to do.
Yes. Yes.
That is like my favorite parenting hack because often the things I find coming out of my mouth after that, I'm like, that was not me.
I would not have been that patient. I would have
Yes,
said that.
exactly that. Exactly that. Oh my goodness. Well, let's wrap this up. Tell us where we can find you on social media, where people can find out more about you and your program. And also, I know you have a quote that motivated you as you stepped into your journey. Would you mind sharing that as well?
Yes, I would love to share that. So you can find me online. My website is kudosforfamilies.com. And I have lots of resources there. I have a book I wrote called I'd Be Happy to How to Get Your Kids to Do What You Ask, the first time and with a smile. And I have my social media handles are Kudos for Families. So just spelling it out, all lowercase, no spaces or anything. And so come find me. I would love to chat with you anytime if you have questions or concerns. And I do think there are a lot of great things out there that I can help with, but I also feel that you as a parent have a gut feeling sometimes of what's best for your child or your family. And just relying on that is huge. And then, like you said, praying to Heavenly Father and asking Him. So I've got tools and resources to go along with that gut feeling that you have as parent and what Heavenly Father is asking and telling. And yes, I do have a quote that helped me that's really been inspirational for me. There are so many little nuggets and quotes, but I love this one. This is by a religious leader, Russell M. Nelson. And he said, we need women who know how to make important things happen by their faith, who are courageous defenders of morality and families in a sin sick world. We need women who are devoted to shepherding God's children. I think that's so beautiful. Women who know how to receive personal revelation. Women who know how to call upon the powers of heaven to protect and strengthen children and family. And women who teach fearlessly. And I just think this is an incredible quote because Heavenly Father needs us. We have a mission for Him. He has things He wants us to teach our children and our families, and He wants us to go outside of ourselves and shepherd others of His children. And so I love this. It's like Heavenly Father saying, this is your call. This is what I want. And it's not like you have to have somebody come out and say, this is what I want you to do. You're going to get feelings in your heart about what Heavenly Father wants you to do and how you can best serve Him. And it'll be very different from, the other woman you see at church sitting next to you. We all have He has mission for each of us, and we can find it if we ask Him. And then He'll guide us through it. He'll help us through the struggles, give us more than we want to struggle through. So, yeah.
Oh, well, thank you, Angela, so much for coming on. It has been an honor to have you on the show today. And for those of you who are wondering, is God truly calling me to do something? I would just echo what Angela says. Trust your gut feeling. Trust that He's going to baby step you into whatever your best mission is in mortality. And Angela, final question. Does what you're doing bring you joy?
It does. It's hard, but it brings me joy because I feel that there's nothing more important in life than God and our families. And being out there helping families is huge for me because what do we take with us? Our family relationships, our relationship with God. And so, yes, it brings me joy to know that I can somehow, in some small way, maybe say something that might help someone.
Thanks for tuning in to the Arise Women of God podcast brought to you by Women Warriors of Light. If you're feeling unsure how to move forward in your calling or just tired of doing it alone, visit womenwarriorsoflight.com. You'll find resources, accountability, and a community of women who get it. Sometimes the calling feels bigger than you. That's when you need steady reminders of the powerful God who called you. Subscribe now for weekly inspiration and the courage to keep going, because with Him, nothing is impossible. And you're not the only one God is calling. That friend on your heart right now, share this episode with her. Your small act of obedience could be the breakthrough she's been praying for. Until next time, may you arise, walk God's way, and stand God strong.